The Casco class ships were built as small seaplane tenders by the USN. They were designed to operate out of small harbors and atolls and had a shallow draft. The fact that this class was very seaworthy and had good livability, and that its diesel plant gave it good range, made the class well suited for ocean station duty. A number of changes were made in these ships to better suit them for ocean station duty. A balloon shelter was added aft, and there were spaces devoted to oceanographic equipment and hydrographic equipment, and a hydrographic winch was added. The cutter Casco, AVP-12, WAVP-370, WHEC-370, built by Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, Puget Sound, Washington. The keel was laid 30 May 1940. She was launched 15 November 1941. She was commissioned in the Navy 27 December 1941. In the Coast Guard 19 April 1949. Decommissioned 21 March 1969 and transferred back to the USN 21 March 1969. Cutter Matagorda, AVP-56, WAVP-371, WHEC-371, built by Lake Washington Shipyards, Houghton, Washington. Keel laid 1 February 1943. She was launched 10 June 1943. Commissioned 17 May 1944 in the USN, 25 November 46 in the Coast Guard. She was decommissioned and transferred to South Vietnam 21 June 72. The cutter Humboldt, AVP-21, WAVP-372, WHEC-372. Builder, Boston Naval Shipyard, Boston, Massachusetts. Keel was laid 6 September 1940. Launched 17 March 1941. Commissioned 7 October 1941 into the USN, 29 March 1949, Coast Guard. Decommissioned 30 September 1969. Mackinac, AVP-13, WAVP-373, WHEC-373, built by Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, Puget Sound, Washington. Keel was laid 29 May 1940, launched on 15 November 1941, commissioned 24 January 1942, USN, April 49, Coast Guard. Decommissioned 28 December 1967, transferred to USN 21 July 68. Absecon, AVP-23, WAVP-374, WHEC-374, built by Lake Washington Shipyards, Houghton, Washington. Keel was laid 23 July 1941, launched 8 March 1942, commissioned 28 January 1943, USN, May 49, USCG. Decommissioned and transferred to South Vietnam 15 July 1972. Chincoteague, AVP-24, WAVP-375, WHEC-375, built by Lake Washington Shipyards, Houghton, Washington. Keel laid 23 July 1941, launched 15 April 1942, commissioned 15 April 1943 USN, 7 March 1949 Coast Guard. Decommissioned and transferred to South Vietnam 21 June 1972. Coos Bay, AVP-25, WAVP-376, WHEC-376, built by Lake Washington Shipyards, Houghton, Washington. Keel laid 15 August 1941, launched 15 May 1942, commissioned 15 May 1943 in the USN, 4 May 1949 Coast Guard. Decommissioned 1 September 66 and transferred back to the USN. Cutter Rockaway, AVP-29, WAVP-377, WHEC-377, Built by Associated Shipbuilders, Incorporated, Seattle, Washington. Keel laid 30 June 1941. Launched 14 February 1942. Commissioned 6 January 1943 in the USN. 24 December 48 in the Coast Guard. Decommissioned 29 January 1972. Transferred back to the USN February of 1972. Half Moon, AGP 26, AVP 26, WAVP 378, WHEC 378. Built by Lake Washington Shipyard, Houghton, Washington. Keel laid 10 March 1942. Launched 12 July 1942. Commissioned 15 June 1943 USN, 30 July 48 Coast Guard. Decommissioned 15 July 1969. Cutter Unimac, WHEC 379, WTR 379, WHEC 379, WAVP 379, AVP 31. Built by Associated Shipbuilders, Incorporated, Seattle, Washington. Keel laid 15 February 1942. Launched 27 May 1942. Commissioned 31 January 1943 USN, 3 January 1949 USCG. Decommissioned 29 April 1988. Yakutat, WHEC 380, WAVP 380, AVP 32. Built by Associated Shipbuilders Incorporated, Seattle, Washington. Keel laid 1 April 1942. Launched 2 July 1942. Commissioned 31 May 1944 USN, 23 November 1948 USCG. Decommissioned and transferred to South Vietnam 1 January 1971. Barataria, WHEC 381, WAVP 381, AVP 33. Built by Lake Washington Shipyards, Houghton, Washington. Keel laid 19 April 1943. Launched 20 October 1943. Commissioned 13 August 1944 USN, 1 August 1949 USCG. Decommissioned 29 August 1969. Bering Straits, WHEC 382, WAVP 382, AVP 34. Built by Lake Washington Shipyards, Houghton, Washington. Keel laid 7 June 1943. Launched 15 January 1944. Commissioned 19 July 1944 USN, 14 December 1948 USCG. Decommissioned and transferred to South Vietnam 1 January 1971. Castle Rock, WHEC 383, WAVP 383, AVP 35. Built by Lake Washington Shipyards, Houghton, Washington. Keel laid 12 July 1943. Launched 11 March 1944. Commissioned 8 October 44 United States Navy, 18 December 48 United States Coast Guard. Decommissioned and transferred to South Vietnam 21 December 1971. Cook Inlet, WHEC 384, WAVP 384, AVP 36. Built by Lake Washington Shipyards, Houghton, Washington. Keel laid 23 August 1943. Launched 13 May 1944. Commissioned 5 November 1944 USN, January 1949 USCG. Decommissioned and transferred to South Vietnam December 71. Dexter, ex Biscayne, WHEC 385, WAVP 385, AVP 11, AGC 18. Built by Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, Puget Sound, Washington. Keel laid 27 October 1939. Launched 23 May 1941. Commissioned 3 July 1941 USN, 20 September 1946 USCG. Decommissioned 18 January 1968. Transferred to the USN 9 July 1968. McCullough, WHEC 386, WAVP 386, AVP 22. Built by Boston Naval Shipyard, Boston, Massachusetts. Keel laid 6 September 1940. Launched 18 March 1941. Commissioned 16 December 1941 USN. 8 June 1949 USCG. Decommissioned 1 January 1958. Transferred to USN 30 October 1968. Gresham, ex Willoughby, WAVP 387, AVP 57, WHEC 57, AGP 9. Built by Lake Washington Shipyard, Houghton, Washington. Keel laid 15 March 1943. Launched 21 August 1943. Commissioned 18 January 1944 USN, 26 June 1946 USCG. Decommissioned 1 May 1973. Sold 25 October 1973. This has been an EMCM production. Ken Lesser, producer.